Hello, everyone, and welcome into CrushTheStreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri, and got an exciting interview for everyone today. And we're going to be talking about cryptocurrency, staying on top of the market here, where we are at right now. And we've been here at 8,000 for some time now. And some people are getting bored with it. I know we've had a lot of ADD in this sector, everyone wanting to just see that price go up and up and up, or only talking about it if it's crashing. But we've kind of seen some stability here at around $8,000. And I got a brand new guest on the line. He's representing the crypto cousins, one of the crypto cousins, Tony Cecala. And these are guys out in front of the trends, identifying the trends, and striking while the iron is hot, as we like to say here at Crush the Street. CryptoCousins.com is the website. They got a podcast and many, many services, a great YouTube channel. Tony, thanks for coming on Crush the Street with me.
Thank you, Kenneth. It's great to be here.
Tony, so volatile crypto market, and we're starting to see some time here spent at the $8,000 mark. Before we get into Bitcoin and how you got into it, if you would comment on this current price action, we'd really appreciate it.
Well, I think my viewpoint is that we had what I called the Thanksgiving effect. Bitcoin was moving along smoothly. Cryptos were moving along smoothly. We had good adoption. We had people recognizing that there's some value here beyond the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is generated on a regular basis by governments or the banking industry. So people went home for Thanksgiving. College students went home for Thanksgiving. People sat around the table and they started talking about cryptocurrency, and they said, well, maybe we should get involved. Maybe we should do something about it. And if you look at the activations on Coinbase and other exchanges, now those are the guys. Coinbase made $3-4 billion last year. Other exchanges are making $1 billion. And these exchanges have been around just for a few years now. How are they making $1 billion? Well, because the money's moving so quickly into exchanges from both the small investor, medium, and large investor, that is a really good metric for where's the interest. So you had Coinbase signing up hundreds of thousands of people in the days following Thanksgiving. If you look, I think the biggest uptrend might have been right around December 7th or so. You probably know better than I the exact day, but that's when we saw this. And so what we had was this exuberance due to people just not wanting to miss out, or FOMO, fear of missing out. And if you just kind of smooth that over, then Bitcoin's been on a really good path. Yeah,
no, I certainly agree with that. It's kind of one of those things, though. We've always been, Bitcoin's history has always been, is it worth where it's at right now? There's been no time in history where people didn't go, I wonder if Bitcoin's in a bubble, right? At $1,000. And I'm talking about the majority of people. There's obviously people who've had the foresight to say, hey, this is going to be huge. But at $1,000 Bitcoin, people were wondering, hey, are we going back to $500? Or at $100 Bitcoin, they were wondering if we were going back to 50. And of course, 20,000. There's been no time where we've said, hey, this is a good time to get in, the mainstream at least. But having said that, Bitcoin is fundamentally, and people are saying this now, that it's a store of value. But the caveat is don't invest in crypto or Bitcoin more than you're willing to lose. So I'm wondering, I'm not trying to be cynical, are we getting to a point here where Bitcoin is becoming a store of value and people can put more money into Bitcoin than they are, quote unquote, willing to lose?
Well, I think your observation is really spot on. At any one point in this exponential growth that Bitcoin has experienced, we never know what the next day is going to hold. So it's not a technology for people with weak hands. I don't think this is the time for people to go cashing in everything and putting it all into Bitcoin, because if you have to ask those questions, if you have to be concerned, then it's too volatile for that at this time. People who have drank the Kool-Aid, we like to say on Crypto Cousins, yeah, did you drink the Kool-Aid? If you drank the Kool-Aid, you're already all in. You're already seeing what's happening with the regular dollar. You recognize that your dollar isn't really yours. You recognize that when you put money in the bank, we used to say, "Oh, how much money do you have in the bank?" It was like it's a phrase. It's in the bank. Well, we recognize now that in the bank means you don't really own it because it can be seized at any moment. And so it's not really yours when it's in the bank. So if you drank the Kool-Aid, then you realize that money in Bitcoin is safer than money in the dollar.
Mm. I like that. I like that a lot. And so the risk is being in the dollar, you're saying, and the potential of that. And I guess for people around the world who live in countries like Argentina or Venezuela, they've seen the extremes of what could happen to the current financial system, and even the volatility in Bitcoin compared to the volatility of their current system is less of a risk because they're obviously dealing with such a crazy environment in their current financial system. Here in the West, or the U.S. and maybe some other Western nations, we've had some level of stability which we've been able to trust to a certain degree. So a 50% downward move in Bitcoin might hurt a little more than for somebody in Argentina or Venezuela, for that matter.
Exactly. We have this illusion of stability because, comparatively speaking, it's very stable, the US dollar. If you ask a Venezuelan, what would you rather have? They'd rather have Bitcoin. And when mining Bitcoin in Venezuela it's illegal. I don't even know if it's a capital offense, but it's very dangerous to mine Bitcoin in Venezuela. But people do it. It is, they're looking out for their financial sovereignty. So being able to own your own wealth, manage your own wealth, take responsibility for your own wealth. We are in a nanny state here that takes care of our every move. We're looking for the government. People are looking for the government to hand them their money, to give them money back on tax days. Here we are on April 17th, traditionally known as, tax day here. We're wanting to get our refund. People who work on a 9-to-5 job, what happens to their money? One out of $4, 25% gets taken out before it even reaches their paycheck. So what kind of life is that? I mean, we've been fed these lies about, this is your money for so long that we don't even realize it. So waking people up, getting people to take the red pill and seeing, wait a second, this is not my money. When they get that, you don't have to convince them about Bitcoin. You don't have to do any convincing. It's really a waking up to a new belief system, a belief system that says, wait a second, is this really my money? And when you get the answer to that question, it's not pretty. And then you start to make different choices.
Tony, so you seem to have a very purist view of Bitcoin, and that's honestly how I came across Bitcoin myself. I really loved gold and precious metals, and I understood what was going on in the economy overall, and Bitcoin made a lot of sense for all of the things you're talking about. Now we've obviously seen the community grow beyond just this, purist, belief where people see the problems with the government, and it's growing beyond that. But I'd like to ask you, how did you get involved with crypto in the first place?
Well, I came about it really from a technological point of view. You have a lot in common with Trace Mayer. Trace has been a great outspoken supporter of Bitcoin for many years, and his previous podcasts and writings were about gold. And so, gold bugs recognize the importance of store of value. I wasn't an economist. I wasn't really interested in money at the time. I was interested in, wow, this is fascinating. You can mine cryptocurrency with your computer. So, I got out there and was mining in the old days where you could just mine with a regular laptop. And so that was what attracted me to it. Unfortunately, I think my interest coincided almost precisely with the fall of Mt. Gox. So, I saw what happened. We saw it go to 1500 or so, and then Mt. Gox crashed. Mt. Gox had that incredible what do you call it?
Implosion.
Implosion is the word. And then, Bitcoin dropped dramatically after that. And then again, the weak hands left. They said, hey, this is not for me. It's too scary. It's too volatile. And so each time you had, the true believers, people who were in this for a different reason, people who saw the technology and said, wait a second, I can pay someone in another country, no matter where they are on the planet, I can pay them money directly. PayPal doesn't have to get in the way. The banks don't have to get in the way. I mean, I have a long history of selling things that are somewhat questionable. I have a business that was selling diet drops. This is homeopathic diet drops. Diet drops that are homeopathic they're absolutely safe. They've been around for a long time. And PayPal said, no way, we're shutting you down. I've had a history of people taking a look at what I'm doing and saying, this is not good, we're closing your account. So when I saw that Bitcoin offered me a way, and everyone, a way to transfer value from one human being to another without an intermediary, without a quote-unquote trusted third party, then I knew that this was something that was going to change the world.
Wow. That's a powerful statement. And, again, when you have those personal experiences with entities shutting you down, the banking system problems, it really gives you, rubber meets the road use case for the technology. And, again, that's one of the reasons why I feel like countries, in Africa or countries in South America where they've seen the problems, they've dealt with the problems to such a large degree, they get it. My mom is from Argentina, my grandparents, and these are some of the biggest anti-government people I've ever met in my life just because of their experiences from where they came from. They don't trust banks. I mean, my grandma used to hide money under her mattress. And it was all because of their experiences. And so the percentage benefit, the percentage increase of the utility that comes from these cryptocurrencies has been so much greater for people with much more extreme circumstances. Being able to be your own bank when you don't have that option is such a powerful thing. So really, really exciting there. And I'm glad, and I'm sure you're very happy to have come across Bitcoin and to be involved with it. And obviously you've taken off with a great amount of success. So congratulations on that. Anything else you want to add to that before
thank
we
you,
move?
Kenneth. Yeah. Well, just that here you said your grandmother, burying money in the backyard, or under the mattress. This is something that we see repeated throughout with technology. In the West, we're using social media to show cat videos. And what happened in the other countries where the government and where the people in power had such a power over the individual that social media really meant something. So, we had Arab Spring. We had social media being used for human justice. And in our country, in the U.S., we're using it for cat videos, and now with Ethereum, we're doing crypto kitties. So, we don't have a use case because our lives are just, we're living very privileged lives, and so we don't really see it. We don't understand it. And I think they have to take a broader view of cryptocurrencies, as you said, looking at these other countries where the dollar, the petrodollar, the Venezuelan bolivar, this is where the rubber meets the road. These people don't need to take the red pill. They're living the red pill every day.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about mainstream adoption here. Do you see that as a reality? Do you see CNBC and the banks adopting and accepting Bitcoin to a large degree? Or is it going to continue to be this sidestepping of the banking system that the Bitcoin community continues to grow with? And, the caveat to this is, Coinbase was the major platform for what popularized Bitcoin, but that was a platform that people sacrificed their security and complied with the conventional system, which attributed to the growth in Bitcoin. So do you see that continuing on that certain path, or is it going to be more of a sidestepping of the conventional system that grows the Bitcoin community?
That's a great way of putting it. So, I think this on-ramp, with Coinbase was one way that people got on, but I do believe, and many of us in the community believe, that 2018 is the year of decentralization, that people are going to go to decentralized exchanges like BISC, BISQ, and they're going to sidestep the traditional on-ramps. Why? Because the traditional on-ramps are fraught with difficulty. As you pointed out, you have KYC, and AML. Mm-hmm. Know your customer and anti-money laundering. So what are they saying? As soon as you step up to the plate, you're a suspected terrorist of sorts. So you need to be checked out, and you need to sign up, and you need to say who you are. And that is the reason Bitcoin is in existence, to avoid having a third party determine whether your beliefs or your skin color are the right thing, and you can just take your money and spend it where you wish.
Okay, Tony, so I'd love to get your thoughts here on artificial intelligence, and especially as it relates to blockchain. We are seeing some of the most crazy advancements in artificial intelligence. Obviously, we know about the driverless cars, and we're getting stories that people are being hired through Skype by artificial intelligence, and they're looking at your face and deciding if they like the inflections in your voice and if you sound sincere, and decisions are being made with machines. And a lot of people are worried about the job implications on this, but I mean, it's just such an incredible topic to explore, with computers and Singularity and everyone connected, and the sum of all human knowledge with the internet connection. You have the sum of all human knowledge if you have a $20 internet connection, and then if you connect all of the machines to that, they're constantly learning off of each other, and in a decentralized way. I mean, what are the implications of this? It's such an overwhelming thought when you think about it.
Well, I think we're at that early stage where the implications of AI are rather daunting for the average person to think about, because the players who can use AI are really the big four. What do we call them? Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Netflix, and so these players, and Apple. So you have the big 4 and 5 players using AI to increase the bottom line. And right now, people don't really understand how pervasive it is, that it works in the background kind of silently. Recently, there was a report that in China, there was a person out of 60,000 concert goers, the Chinese government was able to figure out with face recognition one fellow that they were looking for. And that's incredible to imagine, someone who's trying to hide amongst 60,000 people was able to be discovered using face recognition. So I think the advancements in AI are right now, they don't really have an impact on the day-to-day person. And as you alluded to, there's a lot of fear from AI. I once read that robots really are the alien meaning someone coming from another country, someone coming over to take your job. They're the aliens from the future. And that's something that's played out time and again in our country. So you have Irish, Italians, whoever it might be, and from anyone coming from Mexicans. So, this fear that someone's going to cross over the border and take your job, and that compels fear amongst people because someone who is other than themselves, other than their own tribe, is going to do something bad to them. And so AI falls within that category. AI and robotics, they are the alien from the future.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting way to put that. But I guess it just has so many implications. I mean, I have young kids, a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and the advancements of technology. It's like we're beyond Moore's law with the speed at which it progresses here. And it's, how do you even know what to focus on in terms of education? Because the fact is, time is our most valuable resource. And if we focus our time on something that goes worthless, that is a big problem, because you're wasting time in something that might be futile in a matter of maybe a couple years. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that the average person being schooled by the state has a great program for bringing you along and teaching you all of the things that we learned yesterday. But luckily, I was graced with Catholic school education, where I went to high school with the Jesuits. And the Jesuits really understand how to free a mind. They understand that you need to think critically and creatively and study things that will help you to learn how to learn. And so, as you know, you've taken a step outside of the matrix. You see what we're doing here. To think about gold, to think about Bitcoin, to think about the future as you are, you're thinking in a new and critical way to get outside of the conditioning that we all have. So, yeah, you know that your kids are never going to drive a car, that by that time they're 16, self-driving cars will be here for quite a while. And you understand that the future is completely unpredictable, but you probably want them to be the best learned beings that you can, that they can be. So you want to help them to see outside of the limits and see outside of the indoctrination that we have with state-sponsored education, and you're getting told exactly what this and that is. And I'm reading the Bitcoin Standard right now by Safety Amos, and he is a brilliant economist who is pointing out how money has evolved over the years, and I'm learning a tremendous amount. That, of course, this is stuff you'll never learn in school. Safety is pointing out that inflation took place all throughout the Roman Empire. They called it clipping. They would clip coins and take out the good, important gold and replace it, with bronze. And so you'd ended up with coins that were clipped. And as the king, each time the king had fewer percentage of gold within a coin, basically it was being inflated. And so that has taken place for hundreds of years. Inflation now is one of our biggest problems. And I'm learning about it now at this age.
Wow. Yeah, there's no destination when it comes to our learning. It's a constant evolution, if you will, of continuing your learning. There's no stopping it for and arriving at some point where we're done, because especially in today's day and age, I mean, you need to have information. And one of the things that we've said here at Crush the Street before is information will be the oil of the 21st century. I know we didn't coin that, but I mean, it's something that we took and we ran with. So,
Tony,
a great quote. Yes. Tony, I'd love for you to share some closing words of advice. I really enjoyed, picking your brain here. You got a lot of intelligent insight into the way the world works, and I appreciate that. If people want to learn more about you, please let them know where they can go, and any words of advice that you would share here as we close out the interview.
Well, thanks, Kenneth. I really appreciate being here, being on the show, and being able to share the idea that people need to open their minds to what may not be believable. The idea that we are in a world that is looking out for you, is in a world with a government and banking agencies that are here to protect you, protect the consumer rights. When you hear about consumer safety, consumer rights, protect the consumer, I mean, I think most of the people who are listening to your show already have taken that red pill, but you have to go even further. Everything that you see, everything that you hear, you have to recognize, where is it coming from? When someone says to you, we're spending billions on this, you're spending billions on the drug war, we're spending billions on that, I always turn it around and say, we're making billions. who is making those billions? It's not like you're taking billions of dollars in the drug wars, for example, and sending it off to Mars or putting it in a big bonfire and burning it. I mean, someone is getting those billions. So you have to wake up to the idea that what people are telling you is not always the truth. And so being able to fine tune that truth meter is my most important thing to tell people, is to really wake up from that matrix. And you can find out more about us at cryptocousins.com. My partner Gary Leland and I do a show once a week, and we talk about crypto, and we do twice a week, and the second day we interview someone. So cryptocousins.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Tony, for coming on Crush the Street. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Kenneth.